Hello cyclists, it's good old Rick again. You were wanting somebody else. Not going to happen today. Today being March 18th, 2024. Started a bike ride at 12:56 p.m. or maybe 12:57 p.m. Late start. A lot of drama before this ride started. I was watching the Volta Catalunya from 9 o'clock until about, I guess, 10:45. While I was doing that, I was watching the temperature, trying to get it up to in the middle to high 60s. And then it did. And I went to get ready, got dressed, as I was going around, and today's bike is the Cervelo Caledonia. The center of the drama, the rear tire problems continued. As I was getting ready to take the Cervelo off of my bike rack, the rear tire was flat. So I took the rear tire off, got the, has a TPU tube in it from my last set of problems. I'm still going back to that rock that cut through the tire and the tube. Anyway, got the TPU tube out, aired it up. It was obvious where the hole was. Inspected the tire, couldn't really find anything, although I did find a cut about in the area where the hole was. I identified the hole in the TPU tube. And then I decided I would try using one of the adhesive patches on the tube. Applied it. It was a little difficult because where the hole was, the tube had formed a big bubble. And so I couldn't get the tube to lay, the surface to lay flat, real flat. But anyway, I applied the patch, aired up the tire, and it stayed aired up for a few minutes, but then it went flat. Well, last week I got some more TPU tubes, and they came with some patches. So I applied one of those patches, followed the instructions, lightly buffed the area, applied the patch, held it for, it said to hold it firmly for 1 minute. I think I did for like a minute and a half. It looked good. Aired up the tube. It stayed aired up longer than it did with the other patch, but eventually it went flat. I don't believe I'm going to be able to patch that tube. So, I've replaced the TPU tube with a regular tube, a Schwab 700 by 28, but that tube has a removable valve core. After airing up, getting the tube back in the tire and airing it up, I was disconnecting the pump, and the removable valve core came out. I got my wrench and tightened that valve core as much as I could. Attached the pump again, aired it up, and this time the valve core stayed in. Tires aired up, and I'm riding. One of the pluses while I was working on the tube situation was the temperature warmed up to 67, 68 degrees, which is kind of my cutoff point where I don't wear leg warmers if it's that temperature or higher. So I don't have leg warmers on. But the weather, big change from yesterday. The temperature when I left was like almost 68 degrees, mostly cloudy, although the clouds are kind of wispy. Wind is out of the northeast at 23 miles an hour with gusts at 31 miles an hour. That's going to be a problem getting back at some time during the ride. Now, I'm going to do something different this week. If I can ride outside, every ride that's outside this week, I'm going to go south and probably east. No north routes. Today because of the late start, I'm going to go south through Atascocita, loop through Walden, cross Lake Houston, Fair Lake Lane, Old Atascocita Road, FM 2100, and then north on FM 2100, west on FM 1960, and then through Atascocita Shores and Kings River and back across the river. If I'd started a little earlier, I might have went to Spanish Cove Drive. I need 236 miles to reach my road mile goal for the month of March. Riding through Walden on country club or cross country drive. At times the wind is helpful, and other times it is a strong headwind. Like right about now, as I make this curve around it would help if the sun was a little warmer too. When I get to FM 2100, it's going to be hard work riding north into this northeast wind. Hopefully when I turn to the west at Huffman on FM 1960, I'll get some tailwind for a while. 16.1 miles, and it's 12 minutes after 2. Looks like they're cleaning up the shoulder and picking up the last of the barriers out in the middle. The wind is going to be hard as I ride east over Lake Houston, I think. .1 miles, 21 minutes after 2. Wind is from my left front quarter to face on. Riding south on Fair Lake Lane, a beep beeps, 20.0 miles. That was hard work riding east over Lake Houston in the wind. Pretty strong gusties too, kind of moving me all over the shoulder area. It's 29 minutes after 2. Get a little rest from the wind as I ride south on Fair Lake Lane. Rest my legs up hopefully for the ride north on FM 2100. Getting ready to enter the S curve. I'm on FM 2100, riding north. Wind is pretty strong. The wind's cold too, because the sun went away. .9 miles. I just clicked over to 23.0 miles. 41 minutes after 2. I'm glad I wore a thermal long sleeve jersey underneath my wind jacket. Wind is really strong here. Headwind. Approaching the railroad tracks in FM 1960 and Huffman. Riding on Kings River Drive on my way to West Lake Houston Parkway to go back across the San Jacinto River. For some reason or another, the wind gusts were particularly strong as I was riding on the Tascasita Shores Drive from FM 1960 until it transitioned over to Kings River Drive. It's not quite so bad now, but I've got a lot of trees to my right. I'll be back and exposed to the wind as I ride on West Lake Houston Parkway over the river. 29.3 miles. 7 minutes after 3. I think the temperature's dropped a couple degrees. Maybe it's just the wind and not as much sun.